Good morning, Year 3. I'm doing things a bit differently today, and you can't actually see me on the video today. There's a couple of reasons for that, and the main reason is, Otter class will know this, is that I sometimes have an allergic reaction, and I'm currently in the middle of one, and my eyes are very swollen, so I don't think it'd be very pleasant for you to see me. So I'm going to do things behind the scenes today, and then hopefully for my next video, my eyes will have cleared up a little bit. They normally clear up within a day. So hopefully I can get back on the screen to see you for our final lessons. So for your starter for today, we've got the mental maths train, which you've got the link on your overview. If you can't access the link, just go into top marks and type in mental maths train. Okay, so you click on it to play. You select a truck. Now we're doing multiplication all this week. So you click the multiplication train. And then I have set you a challenge. Now, I think I've set hexagons to have a go at the 3s, 4s and 8s. Squares, I think I've asked you just to focus on your 4s. And circles, I've asked you to focus on your 3s for now. Obviously, you can choose. So squares, if you think that you would like to have a go at the 3s, 4s and 8s mixed here, then you can. Circles, I don't want you to do the 2s, 5s and 10s because that's what we did in lower school. And I know that you know them quite well now. So go to your 3s first. And then obviously hexagons, you can have a mix of all of them. So I'm just going to do, to show you, I'm just going to do the 2 times tables just to show you. I don't want to give you all the answers away, do I? So you may have played this before. So it tells you the sum up here, times 2 by 5. So 2 times 5, and you click on the answer. And you've got a score up here. 2 times 1. And so on. Okay, so you keep playing until it gets to the end of this game. So it's just a quick multiplication. What is 2 multiplied by 12? 2 times 12, and click on the answer. And I'll make a mistake now so you can see what happens if you make a mistake. Multiply 2 by 10. Try again. Tells you to try again. 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, so I want you to play that. You can play it a few times. Spend about 10 minutes playing that just to get your maths brains into gear for today, using your multiplication facts for the one that you are working on. Okay, when you've done that, so you can pause me for now, and then when you've done that, you can press play again and we'll go over today's lesson together. So pause me for now, and I will see you all in a moment or two, or 10 minutes when you've done your game online. Okay, Year 3, so today we are going to use the grid method, which we have done before in class, to multiply 1-digit and 2-digit numbers, and hexagons you're going to extend onto 3-digit numbers as well, and I will go over that with you. Now we have, I think, may have even used this PowerPoint before to go through it, but it was quite a while ago and we did a few lessons on it, and we thought that it would be a really good opportunity before we go back to school next week to revise this so that we can move on with the next step of learning when we come back to school. So if you've seen this before, a bit like reading a book, really. You can read a book more than once and still get something new from it. So you may have done this before and maybe not got it and maybe needed a bit more work on it. And so this may help you. So I'm going to go through the PowerPoint with you, and then I will show you today's task. So our WALT is to use the grid method to multiply 1-digit and 2-digit numbers. Now, if you remember, the grid method is when we had to draw into our books. You won't be able to do that today. Based on the activity that we have sent for you is on a worksheet. But if we were doing this in our books, it's actually quite tricky to draw the grids and make it look neat. So we've done it on the sheet for you today, and we'll show you that as well. So different words for multiplying. You will have seen that in your game this morning. We've got a symbol for multiply, which is this symbol here. Then we've got the words times, by, lots of, equal groups, or array. They all mean the same, multiply. And we know when we multiply something, the number gets bigger. When we multiply something together, the answer is bigger. So here is the grid method. Now you'll recognise this because we did it in class before. We've got this question here, 12 times 4. Now 12 times 4 is quite an easy one because we go up to our 12 times tables anyway when we're doing our rapid recall of our mental multiplication facts. But what we've got here is we've got a 2-digit number and a 1-digit number. And to figure out the answer to this using the grid method, we're partitioning. If you remember what that means breaking it down and splitting up the 10s and the 1s. We're partitioning the 2-digit number and keeping the 1-digit number as it is. So you can see that the 12 has become 10 and 2 because there's 1 10 and 2 1s. And then we've got our single digit number here, 4. Now the answer here has been done for you. So I'm just going to show you it now. It's showing you here in a picture version as well. We're not going to use that picture version in our work today. We're going to use the written version here. So the first thing we do is 4 times 10. Now 4 times 10 is easy because the multiple 10 is easy for us because we know our 10 times table. But if you weren't sure, we could use our skills from yesterday where we made this number, the multiple of 10, 10 times smaller. And I could just do 4 times 1, which is 4. And then I have to make it 10 times bigger by putting a 0 back on there. We'll do a few more of those together. So I've got the answer 40. And then I do 4 times 2. And I know my answer is 8. And then I put them together, 40, add 8 to get the answer 48 there. So that's how we use the grid method. That's quite an easy one, to be honest. Let's see if we can find a trickier one. Here's another one here. Okay, so we've got 14 times 5. Now we don't normally go past 12 times 5 when we're learning our rapid recall. So this might not be something that you know off the top of your head, but you do know your 5 times tables. So we're going to partition the 2-digit number here. So we've got 10, 1 10, 4 1s in there. And then the 1-digit number comes down here on its own. So again, we're going to do 5 times 10. And we're going to put the answer in there, which is 50. Or we could have done 5 times 1, which is 5, and add the 0 back on to make it 10 times bigger. Then we're going to do 5 times 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 is our answer in there. Now, if you can remember, what do we have to do with these two numbers now to get our answer? Well done, we need to add them together. Now that's quite easy because we can count in tens. We can go 50, 60, 70 is my answer, and there it is up there. Now, like I said, this is a picture version. So you can see that they're using the picture of rods, the tens rods. So they've got 5 of them there, and then they've got 4 ones here to try and show 10 times 5 and 4 times 5. So you'd have to count all of those, which is quite a lot, isn't it, to work out. Okay, so moving on, let's have a go at this. Now, what I'd like you to do now for me is on a scrap piece of paper is to pause me for a moment. And I would like you to have a go at this on a scrap piece of paper. All you need to do is draw a really quick grid. You don't even have to draw a grid, really. You can just write the numbers in the right places to figure it out. So remember, we're partitioning this number first. Partition this to go in the top, and the single digit number goes down here. So pause me for a minute. See if you can work out 13 times 8. Now, it's our 8 times table, which I know not all of you have practiced, but see if you can work out 13 times 8 for me. And come back to me when you're done. How did you get on year 3? Tricky, isn't it? So if we partition 13, we should have had, oh, I skipped ahead, sorry. We should have had a 10 and a 3 in here. And I'm not sure if it's going to let me show you. I'm not sure if it is actually. No, that's annoying. Let me see if I can, sorry children, it wouldn't let me write on there. So I've just stopped it and put it into a smartboard so that we can go over it together. Sorry about that. So if you partition 13, you should have had 1 10 in there and then 3 1s in there. Well done if that's what you managed to do for that one in there. And then your single digit number would have gone in this box here. So that's your 8. Okay, so well done if you got that far. That's a start. So now we're going to do 8 times 10. Now, like I said before, 8 times 10 is easy because we know our 10 times table, but you could make this multiple of 10 like we did yesterday, 10 times smaller by taking the 0 off and doing 8 times 1, making that 8. And then putting the 0 back on to make it 10 times bigger, making it 80. It's the same as doing 10 times 8. And then we've got 8 times 3. Now, luckily, you've got your 3 there. So if you don't know your 8 times table, you do know your 3 times table. So 3 times 8 or 8 times 3 is 24. And that's what you should have got in there. So well done if you got this far. That's really impressive that you've remembered what to do this far. Now, what did you have to do to get your final answer? Well done if you remembered you had to do 80, add 24. Now, what you can do is, if you're not sure how to do that in your head, which you can do in your head, because you can do 80, 90, 100, because that's 2 more 10s, and then 4, making 104. Or if you're not confident with that, you could have done your column addition. I nearly forgot the word for it then. Just to clarify, just to make sure you've got it right. So 0 and 4 is 4, 8 and 2 is 10. So we put the 0 and we put the 1 over here into the hundreds column there, making it 104. So that is your final answer. So you may not have been able to do 13 times 8 in your head, because it goes beyond what we normally do. But using this grid method, it can really help you to work out the answer. So there we go. Well done if you got 104. Give yourself a tick. I'm very impressed with you if you did. It means that you haven't forgotten. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint if I can. Here we go. From current slide. Here we go. That's where we were. So we've done that one together. So well done if you managed to get 104. Very impressive. Now, multiplying by 10 was our easy one, but if our multiple of 10 is different, this is where you're going to need your skills from yesterday, because you don't know your 20 times tables. We haven't ever done them. So if the multiple of 10, when you partition it, is different from 10, you are definitely going to need your skills from yesterday. So if you remember, let's have a look at this question. So 22 times 3, we've partitioned 22 into 2 10s, which is 20, and 2 1s here. And we've got our single digit number 3 here. So now we've had to do 3 times 20. Now we don't know 3 times 20 because we don't know our 20 times table, and we definitely don't know our 3 times table all the way up to there, up to 20. So we're going to make this multiple of 10 times smaller in our heads by taking off the 0, making this sum 3 times 2. So we know that 3 times 2 is 6. So we can do that easily. But to make sure we've got the right answer, we made it 10 times smaller to make it easier for us. We now have to make it 10 times bigger by putting the 0 back on in the answer. So 3 times 20 is 60. And then we do 3 times 2, which is 6. And we add these together to get the answer. Well done. 66 is the answer for that one. Perfect. So using a different multiple of 10 now, pause me again, and I will come back to you for us to go over it together. Have a go at this one on a scrap piece of paper for me. Press pause and have a little go for me, and I will come back to you in a moment. How did you get on with that one, year 3? A bit trickier, isn't it, when you're doing a different multiple of 10? So let's have a look at this one together then. So we've partitioned 25 into 20 and 5, and we've got our 4 down here on its own. So we're going to do 4 times 20. Now we don't know that, do we? So what can I do to make my life a little bit easier? Can you remember? From yesterday, remember, we're going to make this 20 10 times smaller. So it becomes 4 times 2, which is easy because 4 times 2 is 8. But that's not the answer to 4 times 20. I made 20 10 times smaller. I'm going to make it 10 times bigger by adding my 0 back on. So 4 times 20 is 80. Well done if you got that right. Then I'm going to do 4 times 5, which is 20. I can check that, 5, 10, 15, 20. And then to get my final answer, you should have added those together, 80 plus 20, so 80. 2 more 10s, 80, 90, 100 is your final answer there. Did you manage to get that, year 3? Well done if you did, superstars. So lots of good practice here for what you're going to do on your own independently today. Let me go back to the PowerPoint, see if I can get back to where we were. Here we were. We've just done that one together. So well done if you got the answer 100. Okay, so another one now, 28 times 3. Now this time there's nothing on the grid for you. So I want you to pause me again in a moment. And I want you to add these numbers into the grid or on your scrap piece of paper where you think they need to go. Okay, so have a little go at that and I will come back and do it with you in a moment. Oh, I hope you managed to do this one as well, year 3, going to really impress me. So we've got to partition 28 first. So I'm hoping you remembered that's 2 10s, making it 20, and 8 1s, 28 just there. And then we've got our single digit 3, put it in the right colours so we can see, single ones, 3 down there. Okay, so to find the answer, let's see if we can work through it together. Well done if you got those on the right place on the grid to start with. Remember, I don't know what 3 times 20 is, so I'm going to do 3 times 2, which I know is 6. And then I'm going to make it 10 times bigger again by putting my 0 back on. So 3 times 20 is 60. And then I'm going to do my 3 times 8. Now, if I don't know my 8 times table, that's okay. I can use my 3 times table. 3 times 8 is 24. And then I need to add them together. So well done if you've got 60 in there and 24 in there. I'm going to use my column addition to help me out here because I'm not confident to do it in my head. So I can really quickly do it on the side. 0 and 4 is 4. 6 and 2 is 8. So my answer to 28 times 3 is 84. Did you get it? I am so impressed with you if you did. Well done working through these with me. If we do them together, it'll make you much more confident when you do them on your own. Okay, so that was using a different multiple of 10. I'm going to skip forward now with another different multiple of 10 here. Now, we had lots of practices with this yesterday, so I'm hoping you're going to be absolutely fine remembering the little rule, the little trick to help you. Just make that a bit bigger. Okay, so I'm not going to pause this time. I'm going to do it with you. So you can shout out the answers to me if you know them. So we've got 35 times 3. I've partitioned it here. So I've got 3 10s, which is 30, and I've got 5 1s here, and then I've got my 3 on its own here. So I'm going to do 3 times 30 first, which I don't know how to do. So I'm going to make this 10 times smaller and do 3 times 3. What's 3 times 3? Shout it out at me. If only I could really hear you. 3 times 3 is 9. And I'm going to make that 10 times bigger, sorry, not bigger, by popping the 0 back on. So 3 times 30 is 90. I'm then going to do 3 times 5. Can you shout that out to me? Well done, 15. You should know that really quickly. 3 times 5 is 15. And then I'm going to add these together. Now, again, if you're not confident, do it on the side. But I'm going to do 90 and another 10, 90, 100. And then 5 more make 105. So there we go. I write 105 is my answer there. Now, you could possibly do these in your head. Maybe some of you can. But these are such big sums that we need the grid method to break it down to make it easier for us. So 105. So remember, if this multiple of 10 changes, all you have to do is take off the 0 to make it 10 times smaller, and then put the 0 back on in the answer to make it 10 times bigger again. That's our little trick from yesterday. So another one here, I'll just make this one a bit bigger again. So the multiple of 10 has changed again to 40. So I've got 45 times 5. Partition 45 into 40 and 5, and my single one down here. So I don't know what 5 times 40 is, so what can I do there, children? Well done. I can make this 10 times smaller by taking off the 0. 5 times 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, that is. So I need to write down 20 because that's the answer to 5 times 4. But 5 times 40 isn't 20. What did I do to this at the beginning? I made it 10 times smaller. So I now need to make my answer 10 times bigger by putting that 0 back on. 5 times 40 is 200. Be careful with that because some of you see a 0 on the end and you think you don't have to put another one on. Well, if you took one off, you've got to put one back on again. So remember that little rule. Then I've got 5 times 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You shouldn't need to do that because you should know them off the top of your head. And then we've got the answer 200 plus 25, 225. So I think you're going to be superstars at this today. I can tell, I can feel it in my bones because we've done it before. And I think you're just going to be practicing something that you already know. But we need to practice things to keep them in our memory banks so that we remember them. And if we didn't practice them, we might have forgotten some of the tricks of the trade of how to get the answer. Now, hexagons, I did say to you that you're going to have some with some 3-digit numbers by a 1-digit number. So I'm just going to quickly go over this for the sake of the hexagons. but it won't hurt squares and circles to hear it as well. It's exactly the same as what we would do, exactly the same, partitioning the 3-digit number. So this time we've got 120 and 8 to partition 128. And our single digit number goes here. So the grid looks different because we've got an extra box to fill in. And that's the only difference really. So if I do 3 times 100, well, that's quite easy because I can go 100, 200, 300. But if this multiple of 100 was bigger, I could do what I did yesterday and make it 100 times smaller by taking off both of the zeros. I'll show you what I mean. So I could do 3 times 1. Well, 3 times 1 is 3, but that's not what I need. So I'm going to make it 100 times bigger again by putting my 2 zeros back on. 300. Then I do 3 times 20. Now, I don't know 3 times 20, so I'm going to do 3 times 2, which is 6. And then I'm going to make it 10 times bigger by putting the 0 back on, 60. And then 3 times 8. So my 3 times table or my 8 times table is 24. Now this time, hexagons, you've got quite a lot to add up. Now you might be able to do this in your head, and that's wonderful if you can. 360, 370, 380, 384. But if you're not confident and we want to double check, it's not going to take you long to really quickly do your column addition, making sure they're all in the right columns, just to check your answer. So 4, 6, 7, 8, and 3 here on its own, 384. So your method is the same. You've just got some extra steps and other things to remember if you're multiplying by 100. Okay. Very quick lesson. It feels like we've whizzed through that, but I feel like you're going to be absolutely amazing. Okay, so if I show you what you're going to do today. Now, today we have asked you to complete this on Seesaw. Now, I know not all of you are using Seesaw, and that's fine because Seesaw is something we are trialing for using in the future, if there are any closures in the future or homework maybe. But what we would like is you to have a go so that you have at least logged in and you've tried to access it and show us what you can do on there. If that's something that your parents are not ready for you to do yet, that is absolutely fine. So you can just do it on the sheet today and send us a picture like you normally do. But we would really like you to try Seesaw if you can. So on Seesaw, when you log in, I have given another really quick, it's like a minute long video for each group. So one for hexagons, one for squares, one for circles, just to show you how I want you to fill it out on your sheet on Seesaw. If you're working it out on the sheet, you're just writing it in the boxes, obviously, like that. But on Seesaw, when you log in, you will see that there is a video for hexagons. Make sure you get the right one, a video for squares and a video for circles. They look very similar, but they are different worksheets. And it will explain to you how to do it on the computer to send us on Seesaw. So that's quite cool, really, isn't it? That you can do it online, a bit like we've just done together. So if you are in circles, you've got one sheet to complete, which is 1 digit by 2 digit numbers, just like we've done together, with different multiples of 10. If you are in squares, you have got the same, except you've got some here that are blank. You have to partition the number yourself to have a go at. And then hexagons, you have got the same. You've got some blanks, but you've also got an extension here, trying sum of the hundreds, 3 digit by 1 digit as well. So you've got a bit extra. Now squares, if you find that you are happy with what you've achieved, there is no reason why you can't get sheet 2 of hexagons as an extension task for yourself to have a go at if you want to, okay? And then the same with circles. Circles, if you do all of yours and you want to challenge yourself, get square sheet and have a go at these ones with the missing answers, the missing grids, then challenge yourself and have a go at those as well. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that. What it will mean is that you will need to go into Seesaw, into another group's activity if you're doing it on Seesaw, but that's fine as well. You can send it via there. So that is your lesson for today. It feels like a bit of a whistle-stop tour, doesn't it? And I'm sorry that I haven't been able to be on the video today. Hopefully I'll be feeling a little bit better for the rest of the week. I'm just going to quickly check, was there an extension view? You've got a lot to get on with there, so I'm Not sure if you have. No extensions today, so just your starter and your worksheet. I think that's enough to get on with, to be honest. Year 3, a lot of work to do today. So we will give our feedback via Seesaw on this. If you send us it in the normal way, we will email back, but our feedback will come through Seesaw as much as we can. So I hope that all makes sense for you. I hope that you have all understood today's task. So good luck with that, revising your grid method, and I will catch up with you again tomorrow for some more multiplication. Good luck, Year 3.